Demon Slayer is without a doubt one of the most beloved and revered shonen anime of all time, and for damn good reason. It's easily one of the most beautiful anime I've ever seen, period, and all of the credit goes to the animation powerhouse Ufotable, the same studio behind the jaw-dropping visual feast that is the Fate series. But here's the thing, while Fate dazzles with magical explosions and over-the-top spellcasting, Demon Slayer is set in a world that feels grounded, a world of pain, sorrow, blood, and quiet strength. The powers aren't flashy beams or dimension-breaking summons. Most of them are subtle, symbolic, almost poetic. And yet, Ufotable somehow turned that grounded world into a visual masterpiece. But it doesn't stop there. In just over 200 chapters, and after only one season of an anime, the Demon Slayer manga sales surpassed One Piece. You heard that right? One Piece. That's like a newborn baby stepping into a ring and outlifting 20-year-old prime half-tall Bjornsson. It shouldn't have been possible. And that meteoric rise? Yeah, it came at a cost. Because of this very precise reason, Demon Slayer is also subjected to hate, which is truly one of its kind if I have to say. Due to the anime being so gorgeous, Demon Slayer is often written off as mindless eye candy, a pretty slideshow with no substance, a show carried by animation, as you've probably heard a lot by now. Now usually it won't matter to me what other people think of something. They have their own right to judge a piece of work and are entitled to their own opinions. But the problem arises when people start shaming fans of Demon Slayer, labeling them as trend followers or normies who just like pretty lights. I mean, don't you like pretty lights? But that's not the point of the video. Alright, that's when the real damage happens. Fans start backing away. Others start treating the show like it's just a colorful AMV with swords, and the heart of the series gets lost in all the noise. So today, grab your Nichiren blades, inhale as hard as you can, because we are about to slay the biggest demon of Demon Slayer, the demon of underweighted writing. Let's rock! Demon Slayer opens up with our main lead Tanjiro trying to survive and then help his sister, who is now the only remaining survivor of the rest of his family who were slaughtered by a demon. The only other problem being she has now recently turned into a demon and is now in the clutches of a demon slayer, which as the name suggests, slays demons. The slayer knocks out Tanjiro, which then leads Nezuko to control her demonic urges and come to his aid. And already we are introduced to our main character, his problems, his drives, his personality, and we are also introduced to the main goal of the series, turning Nezuko back to a human. Nezuko is, by the way, the sister. And we are also introduced to the main problem and the people who solve those problems in the series. Within a couple of episodes, the main villain and his goals are also established, coupled with the demon factions that are the upper and lower moons, and the hero factions, the Hashiwa, and the rest of the Slayer. All of them are introduced within a handful of episodes. And just with this, Demon Slayer has already done everything it needs to do as a story. It has built a good base, it has established what needs to be done, it establishes how it should be done, and it established the primary hurdles to do what needs to be done. It has a solid foundation, but the devil is in the details. And the details of this show is its writing, or more specifically, the character writings, for a handful of characters. But before we get into the handful of characters which are exceptionally well written, let's talk about the rest of the characters. Most of these characters are less characters of their own and more embodiments of tropes. Zenitsu being a simp, Inosuke being wild, Muzan being evil, Tanjiro being nice. Now this causes these characters to not have a whole lot of depth, but there is still some writing chops added to it. Inosuke thinking about his mother during his fight with Doma is a really heart-touching scene. We see this wild guy for the first time show some genuine emotion, which comes in handy when he's fighting end of series Tanjiro. Zenitsu finally locking in to fight Kaigaku is also a memorable scene, but my most favorite one of all is Tanjiro, who up till this point was the embodiment of sympathizing with the demons. But when it came to facing Akaza, he did not sympathize with him, at least not directly. Ironically, the one character that needed it the most, and yet it was for the best. And I'm sure Akaza would agree too. I won't go into too much detail here on Tanjiro as a character because the YouTuber 100 made an amazing video on him, and I personally have found a lot of my appreciation for Tanjiro through that video. So make sure you check that video out after this video. But now that's the thing with all these guys who aren't these four. Their special movements as characters comes not in the form of gradual development throughout the series, but in a loud, massive, and yet subtle and fleeting movement. that comes in a flash but leaves you thinking and pondering about these characters long after their stories are over. Is it the best writing? No. But does it hit? Yes. Now, before we get into my favorite characters, I would like to speak about one other thing in the series that gets a lot of flack, and it's the power system, which is in this series, breathing techniques. And nothing about breathing is inherently flashy. I'm pretty sure you all can agree on that. Like, how is it in JoJo's with Hamon and everything? But the characters all have a different breathing style. No two major characters in this series have the same style, at least as far as I can remember. And yes, most of the breathing styles end up doing the same thing at the end. Take Rengoku's flame breathing and Tanjiro's water breathing, for example. On paper, it is said that flame breathing uses a lot of power and hits hard, and water breathing uses a more reflective and adaptive style of fighting. Both of these things we never see after Rengoku's death. But where the character's breathing techniques do shine is in the character individuality. You see, when it comes to breathing, there's no one size fits all. Because if there was, everyone would be learning sun breathing, which is objectively the strongest form. But a lot of people, due to their individual predispositions, learn a different style. And no style except for sun breathing is objectively stronger or weaker. It just strictly depends on how the user uses it. And when it comes to individuality, the characters do it right, especially with the weapons of choice. Mitsuri has her bendy blade, which helps with her range and works in tandem with her flexibility and inherent strength, making it a form of fighting specifically tailored for her by her, which only she can do. And it is the love breathing. Another is the sound breathing, used by Tengen Uzui, where Tengen incorporates his years of training as a ninja into his unique fighting style, which only he can use, coupled with his extraordinary hearing leading to his briefly shown but unbelievably cool musical scores technique. Gyome, with his extraordinary strength, uses a spiked ball and a sickle, which was a major factor in making one of the coolest manga fights I have ever seen. And I know Ufotable will cook with it. And yes, I completely disagree with the author when she says these breathing techniques are just metaphors, and that is just some BS. But now, let's talk about the big deal, and the greatest reason why Demon Slayer is trolled on so much, Kibutsuji Muzan. And don't get me wrong, when Demon Slayer first popped on screen, Muzan had insane aura. He was so interesting. The style, the look, the demeanor, the mysterious aura, like the fact that he looked like Michael Jackson, and the strange connection to this weirdly Tanjiro looking dude. All of it was so good, up until it was his arc to shine. The fumble with Muzan as a villain genuinely has to be studied. The man went from being one of the most menacing and unique villains we have ever seen in modern shonen to the most lamest and cowardly villain we have ever seen in modern shonen. Actually, not modern shonen. We have ever seen. And yes, Muzan was a big deal in the downfall of the entire series, but in trolling Muzan so much, people forget the best characters in this series, who more than make up for Muzan's incompetency as a villain. Actually, tenfold. The four best characters I had mentioned before that being Doma, Akaza, Kokushibo, and especially Yorichi. Doma I have already made a video on, so you should definitely go check that out. And Akaza is a character very straightforward in his delivery. Something which perfectly matches the delivery of the series as a whole, with a soul-crushing backstory, something which the series had dropped post the Gyutaro and Daki fight, and it was so worth it to see Akaza have one. His entire story, from being an abnormal boy shunned by everyone, to his drive to save his father, to his redemption, his brutal betrayal, and his eventual conclusion by the hands of Tanjiro. Literally, what can I say, it was just peak cinema. And I can easily see why so many people have Akaza as their favorite character in the show. But yet, the two characters I like the most are easily Kokushibo and especially Yorichi. These two have a story which is so nuanced and separate, yet so connected in so many ways, both directly and indirectly. Kokushibo's, or Michikatsu's, entire drive and life, his constant need for power clashing with his humanity, the complex relationship he had with his brother and his family, his brother especially, who he's in constant hate of, yet he dearly loves him. And above all, his connection to legacy. All things we are never directly told nor spelled out, yet when it sits with you, you get to know and understand. And Yorichi? Ho 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 ho! Yorichi is one of the best written characters I have ever seen, arguably the best representation of the strongest trope ever. And you know how much I love Gojo, and still I think this guy is better written. The handling of this character within the show is exceptionally done. From his early years to his death, this man was presented beautifully. I won't go into too much depth in this video, both for Kokushibo and Yoriichi, cause I just like them so much that I'm gonna dedicate a whole video to both of them separately. So make sure you like and subscribe for that one, guys. Shameless plug aside, Yoriichi is such a cool character that even after years since I read Demon Slayer, he is someone I think about the most frequently and the most fondly. Truly, the GOAT. And these are the characters who truly made Demon Slayer what it is, a truly amazing show. And now, I'm gonna address something that will probably get me on a hit list, but I'm gonna say it anyways. In my opinion, the main reason that Demon Slayer gets so much hate is because of how good the animation is. And I know it doesn't really sound all that well, but hear me out. Ufotable is one of the, if not the best animation studio ever. Not only in the movement department and the fight scenes being amazingly smooth and fluid, but the color works and vibrancy is just so beautiful. It is the purest definition of eyegasms. But here's the thing, Demon Slayer isn't the only anime out there with good animation. There are a ton, and I mean a ton of anime out there with phenomenal animation. In some cases, I'd say they are way better than Demon Slayer, but none of them gets the same love as Demon Slayer. And it's cause they really aren't good stories. Imagine all the hate that Demon Slayer gets for its writing, but in their case, it is actually valid. And the reason I brought this up is because you know about Demon Slayer, but you don't know about all those other beautifully animated anime. You know why? It's cause Demon Slayer is a nice story, with good story beats and good movements in it. If it was just eye candy that made something popular, all those other shows would have dethroned Demon Slayer a long time ago. But yet, to this day, no one did and no one has. Remember I mentioned Ufotable at the start of the segment? Demon Slayer isn't the only thing that Ufotable animates. Ufotable is also known for animating another very good, very beautiful show, and it's the Fate series. I had mentioned this at the beginning of the video, by the way. And don't get me wrong, Fate, as far as I've heard, is a very well written series. I mean, it is too convoluted. I've not seen anything past Fate Zero. But yet, it rarely gets brought up in any discussion. And Fate has amazing animation. In my opinion, it eclipses Demon Slayer by a wide margin, due to the magic and the summons and whatnot I mentioned before. And it has a good story, and yet no one ever talks of it, cause eye candy isn't the only thing that matters. If it was, then you'd have seen every single anime watcher get into the Fate lore, but no one does. But you know which manga for a short while dethroned One Piece as the king of manga just after its first season and in just 200 chapters? Yup, that's right, it was Demon Slayer. I understand that there are vastly better manga and anime out there with amazingly written characters, truly thought-provoking stories who don't nearly get the same love as Demon Slayer does, mostly in part of them getting terrible adaptations. Take Berserk and Kingdom for example. And I know it's genuinely frustrating to see something as simple as Demon Slayer getting the love it does, but that doesn't inherently make it a bad show. Yes, the story isn't complex, the main character has a lot of plot armor, Zenitsu is genuinely infuriating, but at the end of the day, it genuinely made people enjoy the time they had with it. And it didn't just do it with animation. Yes, it was a big factor, but before the anime ever came out, the series was relatively doing good, and after the anime, a whole legion of fans, including myself, stuck to the very end of the manga. Not because the manga was drawn nicely, quite the opposite actually. The manga is sort of abysmal in a lot of places when it comes to art, but we stuck around, cause we liked the story, we liked the characters, and most importantly, we enjoyed it. If you are someone who hasn't watched Demon Slayer yet because of all the people calling its writing trash, or if you dropped it because of the same reason, or if you're someone who has read the manga and forgotten due to all the hate, I hope I was able to ignite the fire within you to have the motivation to watch the show. And not just from a brain dead, oh, animation good perspective, but from a more deep and thoughtful perspective. The movies are gonna come out, and guys, make sure to watch it, cause all the peak character moments I spoke of are gonna be right here. So make sure you don't miss him. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and if you did, please like and subscribe. It'll help me out a lot. And before you go, let me know in the comments if you like the writing in Demon Slayer before watching this video, and if I, in any way, was able to make you like it more than before. I think Demon Slayer is a pretty cool show, and I'm pretty excited to see my favorite characters be animated during this Infinity Castle arc, especially Yoriichi and Kokushibo. I mean, I mentioned them a lot, but I decided to mention them again because I just like them a lot, you know. And oh boy, that Kokushibo fight is gonna be peak. But hey, that will be all for now, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace. God bless you.